Welcome to our Ridgeview Museum of Ancient Civilizations. You have now entered the section of ancient Egyptian agricultural surplus. In this part of the museum, you'll learn all about how the ancient Egyptians used their extra food and how they traded it or made things out of it. The Nile irrigation and food. The longest river in the world is the Nile River. The Nile is recorded as 4,187 miles long. That's as long as the USA from coast to coast. The Nile is still a massive passageway for transporting food and goods. Ancient Egyptians used the Nile to transport their food, and they also used the Nile as irrigation for their farming. The Nile kept the Egyptians surviving and was a very important resource for food and trade. The Nile is related to agricultural surplus because the Egyptians used it to trade or sell their extra food through boats, ships that go through the Nile. The Nile also supplied water for the irrigation that got them their extra food for them to trade with.
Ancient Egyptian farming. This artifact is based on what they ate and what they sometimes did as a living. My artifact is a painting painted by the Egyptians. It shows that the peasant farmers are working away gathering food for the pharaoh, who is the leader, or the government. These peasant farmers were paid barely enough to cover their living expenses. This artifact is included in the museum because it resembles the fact that they farmed in ancient Egypt. They mainly gathered fruit and vegetables, as you can see in this painting, and they would only gather the sweet ones.
My element of the project is agricultural surplus. One way ancient Egyptians used their agricultural surplus was from animal fat, and some minerals they used makeup. The makeup was used for various reasons, one being medicinal, or in other words, for being calm, etc. There were two types of makeup that the ancient Egyptians used. One was Eju, which was made from copper or green ore. Eju was mainly for women, but some men wore it. The other type of makeup was medsemet, a dark ore of lead, or was derived or taken from other stones. Ancient Egyptian makeup was also a lot harder to apply. Preparations were a little bit harder. The powder of minerals that was grinded from a pallet was mixed from animal fat and was applied to the eyes.
This concludes this part of the museum. Thank you for listening to our presentation of ancient Egyptian agricultural surplus. I hope you enjoy the rest of the museum. And remember to check out the gift shop!